This is another one of the portfolios I'm working on, and we're getting ready to put the paper on. I've already pre-cut the paper a little bit larger than I'm going to need, so I can fit it on. But the first thing I have to do is check the portfolio itself to see that I got everything on straight. And when I'm looking at it like this, I notice that the spine is a little uneven here. One side is higher than the other. And it seems to be that way on this side too. So in order to even that out, I'm going to take my dividers and just try to find the smallest area here. And here's the smallest side right here because I got it on a little bit not straight. And I'm going to set it to that smallest size. Then I'm going to take the dividers and gently put one point at the point on the spine where the board becomes into the center part of the bending part of the piece, and then just mark it. Test that. I'm going to make it just a little smaller. There we go. And I'll make a mark that hopefully I can see, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side to match. And I want to make a mark that I can see there. Okay. So now I can put my knife blade into those little divider marks like this. And I will cut like that. Then I'll stand the case up and bring the cut around inside. Now when you pull this off, you want to pull it toward the spine. Because if you pull it off away from the spine, if you pull it this way, it'll tend to feather the surface board out into this open area. If you pull it toward the spine like this, all of the feathering will be stopped by the cut. Then you'll finish the cut here and bring that inside. And then on this side, I know I have a very small piece to pull off, so I'll put the knife in that hole, even it up at the bottom there, and trim off this side here. Carry the cut around and inside the portfolio. And pull this little hairline off. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to set my dividers to an even space so I will know where to put the paper when I'm going to actually glue it down. So I'll take the dividers and I'll mark this. I'm using a different pair of dividers now that have a more blunt point, so I can have so it'll make a bigger hole that I can see. And push it up against the board, and I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch. Leaving about 1/8 of an inch of the fabric to be covered by the paper. So I'll take the dividers and mark this very boldly, because the paper will cover these marks. And I'm careful not to let the other point of the dividers poke any kind of hole into the center part of the spine. Now I have a strip of paper here, and I'm going to try to find the center of the board. So I do that with a crease, and then I'll turn this over and fold the paper into the center, like this. And then I can set this onto here and mark the center. And you want to do that on both boards. And we do this because we're going to be cutting these corners off, and we want to know, exactly where to put the paper. So it's a good idea to look at these, even though they are similar, decorative papers. It's a good idea to look at it and decide which is going to be a front and which is going to be a back. And I think this is going to be my front here, so I'm going to mark that and put that as the spine, and then this is the back, and mark that as the spine. So I'm going to lightly crease the paper now, and I've cut this accurately, in a rectangle, because I'll show you what's going to happen as we continue to cut these corners off. Then you'll bring the paper up to just cover those 2 dots. I like to put a weight on it here. This is the center. Okay. And that's the center there. Okay. Put a weight on it, and then just sort of lightly emboss the sides here, so you have a little bit of a crease. Now I'm going to bring this up, and you should make this edge of the paper look parallel to the top here. This edge parallel to this one. And then bring this back until you expose enough of the triangle. And you can, if you want, check this, check your fold, with the triangle like this. So I'm going to fold this down like that, and make sure the crease goes through both sides there and on the foredge here. Now if everything is right and you have a square piece of paper, you should be able just to put a ruler at the top here like this, and make the edge parallel, right, butt it up against your triangle, and then fold up the other triangle, and it should match, exposing the same amount of fabric on the other side. And that seems to be working pretty well. So now all we have to do is put a ruler into this fold and slice off the triangle on both of these pieces. So what I like to do now, even though we only have 2 sides, is to make sure that I mark an A side here and an A on this piece, because if you put these away and you're working on a lot of portfolios, you'll stick these in and you won't know exactly which side goes on, and eventually it happens that you get 2 pieces on and you haven't cut them exactly the same. So now we're going to do the other side. Again, we find the center, match up the center, and bring it up to cover those little divider marks. I'm going to put a weight on it. Make sure this is straight. There we go. Okay. Then crease the sides at the head and the tail. And then we'll fold up the first corner, keeping this top edge parallel visually to this one. And then I can check this with the triangle to make sure my fold's in the right place. You could even fold it up against the triangle if you wanted to. And then we will straighten this out. It looks like my angle is going up from here, so I may have to remeasure that. Well, that's straight, but the paper's not. This is a decal edge. I should have cut that off. So what I'll do is I'll just bring this one up. I'll set this so it's sort of straight with the paper here. This gives me the ballpark. Then I can measure with the triangle. And set this in. Now the paper should come over your triangle by about 1/8 of an inch, just like it does on the spine. Take this off now, and we will cut the triangles. So now we're ready to put these pieces of paper on. So I'll set the board like this. My A piece is here. This is for the A side. I've got a little bit more paper than I need on the inside here, but that won't really matter. I've just covered one side without the camera running, so now I'll cover the second side for you. We're going to glue the paper out. And then we'll pick this up, and using the pre-creased parts of the paper, I'm going to set that on the edge with the paper going over the edge of the divider marks, and then just lightly press this down and check to see that the fabric is covered, with the paper corners like this, and then lightly rub this down and turn the edges around. And just pinch this in place. Okay. And now we'll rub this down with a folder. You want to be especially careful and rub the edges and be sure about all of these edges here that are on the fabric. And here we have the finished case. The next thing we do with this is to insert the ribbons. If you want to try to do your corners a slightly different way, once you have your paper in place on the portfolio, what you should do is take your triangle and set it, leaving the amount of fabric that you want to cover exposed. Then you can take the paper and with your thumbnail or a folder push right into the little into the area there against the edge of the triangle, and then just pull it straight back and fold it. Then it's easy to cut and you know exactly how much fabric you're going to cover. Now I'm going to inset a ribbon. I've made myself a little gauge that is 1 inch wide, and I've marked it for the center of the portfolio. And the way I'm going to use it is to put this over the board, and then I'm going to chisel a little hole in. I've cut ribbons which are 28 inches long, and that's because I need 2 pieces 14 inches long for the for each tie. So I'll lay these down, and then I'll set the 1 inch gauge right on the edge of the portfolio, and then taking the flat edge of the chisel, which is this side, put that right against the center here, and I will hit this with a hammer to put that through, and then take a bone folder with a point on it and open the hole slightly. Take the ribbon, insert it, then turn the portfolio over and pull about an inch of the ribbon through like this. Then I'll take the folder and push down like this with the point where the cardboard has been raised. And at this point, it's very strong. You could actually lift the portfolio with this. But I'm going to give it a little hammer tap to set it in and flatten the ribbon, and then put just a little touch of glue underneath the ribbon to hold it in place when we do the lining so that it doesn't go back the wrong way. So here we are again, the other side. The little gauge here has a stop on it so that I can catch on the edge of the portfolio. Line this up on the end. Take the chisel, set that in place. Make sure that the chisel has gone through by feeling it. And then open the hole a little bit. Insert the ribbon. Turn it over. Pull it so that there's just about an inch left on the inside. And then with the point of the folder, flatten the cardboard back into place. Pull the ribbon in and tap that with the hammer. And put a little glue to hold the ribbon down in place.